Hello and welcome to the Transportation Information Mapping System, TIMS Overview webinar. My name is Paula Hyman from the Ohio LTAP Center, and I'm going to be your technical support for today's webinar. Just a couple of housekeeping items. If you have questions throughout today's presentation, please put those into the questions box, and our presenter will address your questions. This webinar is being recorded. Providing that the recording is successful, the YouTube link will be emailed to all participants and uploaded to our LTAP website. Thank you in advance for your participation with that, and I'll pass things off to Ms. Katie Robertson.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our next episode of TIMS training. TIMS is ODOT's Transportation Information Mapping System, a web mapping portal where you can discover information about Ohio's transportation system, create maps, and share information. I love our little tagline you see on the homepage. Our goal is to provide better data to help you make better decisions. All right. So we've got about an hour today, and it's going to just be live demo stepping through the TIMS application. And I invite everyone to pull up the site in a browser in another window or even on your mobile device, and follow along and interact with the tools as we cover them. That might inspire you to ask some questions, and you can type those in the chat pod. Or if there's anything specific you would like to see or have me demo, you're welcome to put that in the chat pod. So our goals today is to just become more familiar with what's available in TIMS and how to access certain tools or links to information. So I hope you leave this webinar today feeling a little more confident and knowing how to use TIMS more to discover information and improve your workflow. So we're looking at the homepage here, and just a quick overview. The title bar, the TIMS logo in the title bar will always get you back to this homepage. And the ODOT Zephyr on the far right of the title bar will always take you to ODOT's homepage for all of ODOT. And then this search by PID shortcut will persist no matter what page you're on. It will remain here in the title. And if you work with our project data and you just you have a project ID and you want to quickly get information about that project, you can just paste it or type it in here. And then the site is organized into pages. So we have a button for accessing each page in the middle of the home page. And we'll step through all of these. Hopefully we'll get time to visit each of the pages in today's webinar. So the project search is tools to help you locate certain projects or project records. The Create a Map page, that's the heart of our web mapping application. It's where you can turn on layers, and there are tools to filter the data or search the data. On the data download page, you can select any or all of the data sets that are available in the Create a Map page, all the layers that you can turn on and off. You can also download the full data sets as a CSV or Excel file, KML or KMZ, a shapefile, or a file geodatabase. So if you're a GIS user, you can get the full data set and interact with it in your own GIS application. Standard PDF maps will generate a PDF file with a predefined template. It'll have certain layers. You choose the geographic area of interest, and we'll take a look at some of those. Our map viewers are functionally just like the main Create a Map page, but they are they have a different set of layers that are focused for a specific group or workflow. The data glossary is where you can search for data sets and view all the fields that are in the attribute table for those layers, and you can print those off as a spreadsheet. And our final link is for our GCAT application. It's a subset of the TIMS application, and it is for navigating all of the crash data. There are separate LTAP webinars to learn how to navigate this tool. So if you're interested in that, there should be some resources through LTAP. Okay, let's do a couple of the links that I want you to know about in the footer here on the home page. A link to home news if we have any releases or information that we want to share. We'll post that to the news page, and usually there will be a banner somewhere up here letting you know that there's something to check out. The About page just has some technical information about the site, and this contact link is the most important thing to remember and the most important thing to take away from this webinar. This email address is the fastest way to report any technical issues you find with the site, any data errors. If you would like to request certain information or just have questions, all of those are welcome here at this email. And that will go to myself and a few others on my team, so we can usually reply back that same day. And the Help tab will open a user guide. So it's something that you may also want to have open during the webinar today, or later on if you saw something in the webinar but you need some help remembering. This is a good place to start and search. Again, back to the home page. Just a few other links. The login is just for us to administrate the page, so most users wouldn't need to log in. All right, so let's start with the search by PID. You can see that my browser remembers the last PID that I typed here. So I'm just gonna paste that in and hit enter. And it's taking me to the project search page, same as if I would have clicked this link or the button on the home page. And you'll see that it's going to take a minute. It's loading all of those records and then filtering it down to that PID. So you can see this project ID actually has 4 records in our project database. And that is because one project can have multiple work locations, right? It's all managed under one project, but there are different locations along the roadway. And the way that our projects are mapped is by its route and then the log points along that route. So if we have this CTL stands for County Township Logs. So if we have a begin log point and an end log point, we're going to map that as a line along the roadway. You may see some records that only have a begin, and when we map those, they will draw as a point on the map. Let's reset this page. So say we just started on the blank project search page. And of course, my browser is going to remember some of the filters that I had. So we'll try to clear those out. So you can see how it will load all the project data. In the results, I can change the number of records that I view at one time. And I'll change it down to 5 just so that you can see the bottom of the screen. You can see it's pulling in nearly 8,000 records. And that's not 8,000 individual projects because remember, one PID, one project ID, can have multiple locations. So I'm viewing 5 right now, but I can sort on all of the data just by clicking any of the column headers. And I can search. Oh, I should note, since I've sorted it in this direction, we see that there are some records that do not have a route value or log point values. So you will be able to view information on these projects, you'll be able to access the project information page, but you won't be able to draw them on the map because we don't have that location information to generate that geometry. Um, okay, one of my favorite ways to use our search tool here on the project search page is to filter by route. You can see that the route value is always going to be 5 characters. So you'll populate that with leading zeros. Say I want to see all the routes on 71. I just type in, it will automatically filter there. And let's see. Let's clear that out. Back to all of our records, and we'll show how you can filter this list of projects with the filter tools above. So we can limit by district and pick a county. You can choose from the list of primary work categories. So we'll just pick that first one. And you can filter by fiscal year that the project is logged, or by the calendar year. So we can see now that it's returned 9 records. I can switch to view 10 records per page to see them all at the same time. And you'll see that all 9 of these records are actually for the same PID. If we want to view all of the attributes, you see we just have a subset here in our results pane. You can click the View Details button to the left of any record. And for the webinar here, I'm going to right-click, open a new tab so I don't lose my place. And it will open the project information page, which is just hopefully a user-friendly layout for viewing all the attributes for a project that we store in TIMS. And I always like to point out, make sure that everyone's aware that we have direct links to the project plans for each of the projects. Again, I'll do open link in new tab. And it will take you to our Office of Contracts digital paper. You can see this that I clicked did not have any file. So I'll try the proposal maybe in the early stages. It did not. So I will make sure that I can get you an example, but just remember that that link is going to be available to try for each project record. So from this page, I could link directly to the map to view just this project on the map, or I can get more information from our Ellis system, and this link will open the Ellis Proj application. If you give it a minute, it will filter to that PID, and you can navigate through here. So later on when I go over the glossary, hopefully I'll remember to show how you can link to the owners of different data sets. You can link to the ODOT webpage for those offices and get more information that way if you have questions about the data that's in Ellis Proj. We'll be viewing lots of project records, so I'll just remember to check that project link or project plan link to see if I can give you guys an example. So from here, I can send all of these to the map. I can send one just by selecting, or I can click all of them. There is no button to just select all. You do have to click each individual one because the project search page is really intended to help you narrow down to a specific project or location. But once I have them selected, I could export to any of those 4 formats: Excel, KMZ, shapefile, geodatabase, or I could link to the map, and I think it's going to refresh my page. Okay, so Now we have moved on to the create a map page. So I'll do like a quick overview since we've sent our project search results, and then we'll reset the page and go over some of the functionality starting from scratch. So just the basic layout here of the map page is on the left-hand side. We're going to have the tools pane, or the left side pane. Try to be consistent with the terms that I use to refer to the different aspects of the page. But we have a toolbar that you can switch through to turn layers on and off, or search or zoom to certain locations. Our identify features tool will let you click on a feature that's drawn on the map and see its attributes. Some tools for measuring, navigating, saving bookmarks, and linking to some good external resources, ODOT's PathWeb and Map Channel. So I'll circle back and demo those in a minute. There are some tools for building a filter, building a query to search within a data set, or selecting features by their geography. And you can also draw a shape on the map and select features that way. And the last option in the toolbar, add data to map. It will actually let you upload your own data, which can be very useful, even used as some conversion tools if you have smaller data sets. So we'll demo some of these options. Um, this pane, this tools pane on the left side, it can be resized, it can be hidden, and the same goes for the results pane um, at the bottom of the page. So you can hide it to have more of the map view. If you have a lot of records in your results, you can expand it. And you'll see that it's populated right now with 2 project records, and it says project lines. We started from the Ellis page and we had 9 total records. So where are my other records? Well, those would have come through as a point um, geometry, since we would have only had 1 log point. And if we want to view those attributes, you can just click the drop-down arrow from the layer and choose Show Attributes. And here you can see the attributes for that. So in this table, we're viewing all of the same attributes that we saw on the project information page. It's just now in a tabular form. So if we scrolled all the way, again, we would see the links to the project plans. This is the same PID, so I'm not sure that it would be any different if I click this link, but we can give it a try. Yeah. Okay, so let's reset this page. See if we can clear that out. So if we had come to the TIMS application and click the Create a Map button from the home page, it would load like this, zoomed out to the full state. The tools would default to the Set Visible Layers tab, and our results table would be empty. You see we have no results layers to turn on and off, and our results table is empty. Let's see, before I start going into some of the data, let's do the basic map navigation. So you can change your base map. There's some different options. You can generate a basic PDF of the map that you're viewing in the screen. From this tool, there will not be a legend. You will just be getting a PDF of what you're viewing in the map. And you can generate a custom URL to copy and paste in an email or share with friends. And this URL will remember the layers that you had turned on and the extent that you are zoomed to. So that can be really useful if there's a view that you want to share immediately. Okay. And of course, our basic zoom in, zoom out back to the full extent, and you can use the mouse buttons to zoom in as well. So let's go straight into some of our tools before we start turning on layers. And I'm wondering if I should switch over to the data glossary, but we'll circle back to all how you can learn more about and find layers that we have available. So our first set of tools, find locations. You can enter in an address or coordinates. So this, just to give you an example, it's going to default to ODOT central office. And you'll see when I did that search, it zoomed in, it drew an icon on the map, and it populated my results table. So it did this search for the address and then has reported the information that I was able to pull back from our geocoding service. You can paste in latitude and longitude, or you can use this tool to report latitude and longitude. Just activate the tool by clicking the button and then click anywhere on the map, and it will report the lat long, and then you can change the format that you're viewing that. We have our find log point tool, which will also let you report the log point. You just activate the tool in the same way, click the button, and then click over any roadway. And behind the scenes, it's referencing our linear reference layer and reporting on the roadway by the NLFID and the county log point. So if you clear that and you know exactly where you want to zoom into, say Franklin County, that will filter the routes that I can choose from. And then it will show me the valid routes for, or the valid log points for that route within that county. So you can enter a log point, click find, and it will zoom you to that location. Okay, our final tool for finding locations is the Find Area tool, and that just provides a drop-down list of boundary polygons. So you can zoom to a county or an ODOT district, an urban area, a metropolitan planning organization. While we are zoomed into this closer location, I want to highlight some base map options, the OSIP imagery, which is best viewed zoomed in like this, not at the full state scale. So the Ohio Statewide Imagery Program is where they fly the state, I believe, on a 2-year cycle and collect aerial imagery. So it's a really great resource for investigating a certain area. Good high quality photographs, and we have layers 1, 2, and 3. I believe 3 is the newest, but you can compare the different versions. So in version 1, if they didn't fly the entire state, it might not be available, or it could just be my browser not wanting to load right now while I'm in the webinar. It's good to remember to set your base map back to one of the basic, either the ODOT base map or the out-of-the-box streets, because if you zoomed out to the full scale, your screen might just be spinning as it was trying to load all of those images. Okay, so we see in my layers list that I have 2 more results layers that have been generated when I did a find log point search and when I did a find address search. It's good to just understand that behavior whenever you click search or find or you filter a layer, it's going to generate one of these results layers. And these are temporary for your browser setting. If you close, I'm in Microsoft Edge, so if I closed Edge and reopened it, those would no longer be there. Or if I just refresh or reloaded the page, those would likely disappear as well. Depends on your browser settings. So when you turn layers on, let's start with, say, our ODOT facilities, which are actually, let's see. So when we did our find address, that was our ODOT headquarters. So I can zoom back to that, and then you'll see when I've turned on my facilities, it's going to draw there in that location. So as you turn a layer on, it will appear in the legend. So if you can see the legend of, get an understanding of what those symbols represent. And let's do a few more just to show you how that legend will refresh. Okay, let's see. I always come up with a workflow before, but then I get in the webinar and I start talking, and I lose track of whatever great workflow I'd come up with. So let's see. Now would be a good time to give an overview of all of the layers that are available here in the Create a Map page. So we have them organized into groupings. So we have our assets grouping. You can see this is going to be some reference layers, but mostly the assets that are maintained and inventoried and inspected by ODOT. So our signs, retaining walls, ITS inventory, um, conduits, bridges, outfalls. And then under environmental, we have some good reference layers for maintenance restrictions, noise measurements, EPA regions, hydrologic unit codes, scenic rivers, our mussel streams layer. Under projects, we have the full database that we are referencing in the project search page. We could turn on the full project database, and this will include projects back to about 2003. Also there, yeah, I did not read our disclaimer on which projects are available. So let's just quickly go back and make sure we read this. If you have a project that you cannot find in TIMS, hopefully this paragraph will explain why. So I'll just read it. This search includes, or this database that's available in TIMS includes funding categories of Ellis Multi-Lane Major Rehab, STIP, Major Bridge, Safety HSP, Safety SRTS, local programs, and track. 2, there are completed, current, or future projects with committed funding. And comes down to that not having the 50% committed funding. So until that percentage is up to 50%, it will not show in TIMS. And 3, of course, it has to have a valid work location. Now you may see the record here on the project search page, but like we noted earlier, if there's no route and log point value, we won't be able to draw that on the map. Okay, so here we are viewing all the projects that we pull in TIMS that have a valid work location. From here, we could use some of our search tools, so maybe we will do that. Or you can turn on layers that are already filtered, so we can view projects only for the next 4 fiscal years or previous fiscal years. Our defined district work plan or projects that are currently under construction. And I think this is pretty useful. It looks at the construction dates that are logged in our project system, compares them to today's dates. So if our system has these logged as being currently under construction, then they will view in this layer. Okay, and our project history, which is a separate database of archived project information. All right, under our roadway information, of course, we have our main road inventory, and then you can view subsets of that road inventory by functional class, HPMS segments, NHS, priority system, our scenic byways, FAP. I actually cannot remember what that stands for right now. Federal aid eligible, our national truck network. You can view just our LRS, just a single line for each roadway, and this stores the NLFID that we saw when we used our find log point tool. It's the layer that's that tool is using on the back end. So if you actually wanted to view where that geometry is, you can make it visible here. And of course, our traffic count stations and traffic segments. Those are very popular resources. Okay, under safety, we have a subset of that GCAT crash data. It does not include all the attributes, and it's filtered to only show the previous 3 years. So right now we have 2021, 20, and 2019. And then our boundaries section just has our reference polygons, our ODOT districts, counties, townships, census urban areas, PUCO service areas, and our planning organizations. All right, so we can turn things on. Let's go back and turn on our current projects here in this area. We can see right near ODOT, we have a project along 70 that's for lighting. If we want to view more information about this project, we can activate our Identify Features tool. This will be the most used tool, and if you're used to working with different web map applications, you might already be trying to click on the features on the map, but nothing is happening. And in our TIMS application, you just have to click the Identify Features button in the toolbar to activate the tool. And you know it's activated because you'll get the crosshairs icon. So you click on a feature and it's going to return, hopefully, yeah, all of those attributes in a list form now. So we saw them laid out on the project information page. We saw them in the tabular format and the results. And with the Identify tool, you can view them as a list. So let's try, this will be the last time I try, or I obsess about it, to view our contract links again. Okay, so we've got contracts loaded for this one, and we'll just click the button on the left to view them. Sometimes it'll load directly into the browser, and sometimes it will link you to a PDF. I think it's just a difference in the way that the districts manage that. So there you go. So that's very useful, a quick way of accessing the project plans. Okay, so since we have a lighting related project, let's go back to our assets and turn on our highway lighting. Something else that would be relevant might be our signs and supports. And take a look, get some examples of what we can expect in these attribute tables. So again, I'm going to activate my Identify Features tool, and wherever I click, let's click right here, my little selection box, any features that it intersects, it is going to return. So I have multiple layers this time, so now my drop-down list is populated with the current project lines, the sign inventory, and the sign support inventory. And I can toggle back and forth between those. A lot of our asset inventories are, the attributes are going to be structured the same way. And many of them will include some links like to our path web viewer. And you can see it's just zooming right to that location. I don't want to get sidetracked, but I do want to make sure that I go back and show you guys our path web system. If you keep scrolling down, if there are attachments available, you will have links to those. We try to make these smart links, so there will only be this link URL if there are photos attached, but it's not always the case. So, okay, you can see for this example, when they've done their inventory, quite a few pictures have been attached to that record. So you can view those. Something that you just want to know to look for. It's not available on all of our assets. While we're here, let's go ahead and open our path web viewer. So a lot of assets will have a link directly to that location. And here you see, now PathWeb, this is a team here at ODOT that has the very fancy van with a laser strapped to the back and photos all around. They are scanning the pavement as they drive along. Let's get rid of this disclaimer. And they are capturing photos on all sides of the road. So you can come directly to this page. Just outside of TIMS, it's available. You don't need to have to link to it through TIMS. It would just be this pathweb, pathwayservices.com, Ohio Public. But we have a lot of links available through the TIMS site directly in some of the attribute tables. Also under our tools menu, back to our toolbar, under tools we had measure, draw, bookmark, you can link to PathWeb. And the way this tool is going to work, you will click here to activate it. And it might look like nothing's happening, but you get your crosshair icon. So you can click anywhere along the roadway. It will take the coordinates of where you clicked and open PathWeb to that location. So that's very useful. And while we're here, let's go ahead and highlight this map channel link. So it works in a similar way. Activate the tool and click anywhere. It doesn't have to be on a roadway for this one, but we will click on a roadway. And this resource has changed since we originally developed the tool in TIMS, but it does still work. It'll just bring you to this strange homepage and you just click View Map. So what Map Channel is, it combines all the different views of Google Maps so you can navigate them together. So if I'm driving along the roadway, in one view, my aerial imagery and my map view are traveling with me. So it's another great resource just for investigating an area. Okay, let's see. We're at 10:38. A quick review. Hopefully now you are familiar navigating the project search page and navigating the create a map page. You are comfortable turning layers on and off, and you understand that as you turn layers on, the symbols will become available in the legend. You'll understand that if we do a search, it will generate these results layers, which are temporary, but while they are present in your browser, you can flip back and forth. You know about the Identify Features tool, very powerful tool, just maybe not super intuitive. You have to actually know to activate the tool before you can click around in the map. Some options that we have for linking to PathWeb and Map Channel. And we want to go over our filtered data tools. If we have time, we'll circle back to the add data, but those are a little more advanced. So if I want to make a query to search a certain layer, so you can see it's going to let me choose from any of the layers that I have turned on, including my results layers. But let's start with highway lighting. And it will list in alphabetical order all of the fields, but let's say I'm looking for route number. And I can use the drop downs to generate a query, like a mini SQL query. And again, when I'm using that route number field, understanding that it's always going to be 5 characters with the leading zeros can be really helpful. There you go. Ah, did not catch my. All right, so I want to click there. Yeah, come on. Okay, so all of my highway lighting throughout the state on 71, that may be too many records, again, to keep our web mapping application quick and responsive. You know, we try to limit some of those things, but that wasn't too bad. So now I can see it told me how many records. It took it another minute to populate my results table, but I have that here. So if I wanted to export a list to CSV, I could do that from my results table. It's good to know about that. And again, I have that generic search tool. I'm already filtered by route here. So, you know, that wouldn't do much good, but you could, let's see what's like a, maybe by county. Just know that this generic search tool is going to search all of the values. So, you know, use it wisely. I'm not sure what I just said, sorry. Again, when I have good ideas until I get right in the midst of it. But you're welcome to play around with that tool. Okay, I can clear those results. And let's try the next option, filter by geography. Again, I can choose from the layers that are turned on. So this time let's do assign supports. And I'm going to choose one of those boundaries. Remember my find locations, find area tool, it's the same reference boundaries. So I can get all of the sign supports in a certain county, or of course it won't be friendly. So I'm not going to obsess about it, but I am going to make a note on the side that I need to troubleshoot that tool. Okay. Our final filter by tool, filter by graphic. Fingers crossed this one behaves. Now we can draw any type of graphic on our screen, point, line, or polygon. Let's start with just a point. So I've chosen the type of graphic I want, and now I'm going to activate by clicking the draw tool. Then over in my map, I'm going to click anywhere. Did it get it? Again, sometimes these things just, you know, they have performance anxiety. Hopefully, if you're interacting with TIMS, it's working for you on your end, and maybe mine's just raising up because I'm in this presenter mode. But it would draw a point, and then I could expand that point by defining a buffer. One more time. I know you guys don't want to watch me fumble around, so. Okay. If you are trying to play around with these tools and you find that they're not working for you either, you can definitely go ahead and send us an email, but I'm going to be following up on that as soon as our webinar is over today. Basically, it would draw a graphic on your screen, and then it would select all of the features within that graphic. That's pretty straightforward. Okay, so we went through the list of all of the layers that we have available. Say we want to get more information, search what layers are available, or maybe export the list of all of the fields that are available. So that is going to be on our data glossary page. And You can scroll through a list or search the list. So say if I'm looking for projects, remember that's going to be called Ellis in our map. And now I can view all the attributes that we have available. There's seven attributes, so that would be 70 columns in, say we exported to a CSV. And we try to give a useful description of each of those attribute fields. But from this page, you can link to more information by this middle link. So our data sets, Ellis lines, these links are going to be the same for every record that has the data set as Ellis lines. So I can hover over the question mark for a brief description. And then if the second link is activated, it should take me to an ODOT page for getting more information. This is useful. We've updated, so the main transportation.ohio.gov page is ongoing development, redeveloping some of the page links. So we're not always up to date, but we try to keep those links active and refreshed. So I want to point out, like for Ellis in our project search page, or maybe our project information page, there was a link to find your data coordinator. I've gotten click happy. It's going to get angry with me. So let's just open one. Yeah, this link, I just noticed that this morning that it has changed. So we do need to update that link, but from our data glossary, you can, again, once you pull up Ellis and link to its business page, you can find your district coordinator with this program management staff link. Okay, let's see. We have about 15 minutes, and I definitely don't want to run over. So let's make sure we visited each of the pages. So this is data glossary, where you can find information, description for the data set, and a list of all the attribute fields. Our data download page is where you can select all of the assets, and it should be all of the layers that are available in our Create a Map page should also be available here. And if it's an asset that's updated on a daily basis, then these data download files are regenerated at the same time. So if it's something that changes quite often, just note that when you download it, you know, that the next day here in TIMS, it might be an updated version. So you can select as many as you like and then choose your format, and it will download them all zipped together in a zip file. Okay, our standard PDF maps. So we have some templates. Usually different offices around ODOT, they have a need to generate a map for their, regularly scheduled meetings or project reviews. So we've worked with them to come up with some templates, and you can choose your area of interest again, your base map, and then there are some different sizes. Now this is one of the things that almost always freezes up when I'm in a webinar demo. So I do have some files that I'll just quickly flip through so you can get an idea. If you want to print off a traffic map, here is our annual construction work plan. So you'll see the symbols based on secondary improvement, primary improvement, if it's local LET or ODOT LET. Similar, but for the construction season. For the current fiscal year, if you just want to view the roads by functional class, we have the milepost map, just a reference of the mileposts, and our multi-year work plan. Okay. Okay, and finally, um, our map viewers page. So the functionality is going to be the same as our creative map page. What will be different are the layers that are available. Sometimes there will be additional information that is not available in the main creative map page. Maybe it's, the target audience is much smaller, so we keep it to one map viewer. Um, Sometimes it will be the same data, but they wanted additional filters or additional symbology. So, say for active transportation, they wanted projects filtered by safe routes to school or transportation alternatives program. So, you're welcome to search around. These are all publicly available. Um, if you are, working within an office in ODOT and you think you have a need for a customized map viewer, you're welcome to reach out for us and we can work with you to see what we can put together. Um, the structures viewer, a lot of people work with our bridge data, so this might be good to know that it exists. It has just some different ways of viewing our bridge information, and hopefully we've provided some good descriptions of what the layers are going to be. And one thing to note, so say these are filters on our structures or our bridge data set, right? The underlying attributes, it's still the same database, so the underlying attribute list is going to be the same. So while the name of the layer might not be what you would search in the data glossary, if you understand that you're still looking at the bridge data, then you can still view a list of the attributes there. Okay, let's see. So we have, I think I will demo the add data tools and then we'll wrap it up from there. Hopefully get you guys out a couple of minutes early. So let's start with LRS events. Say you have an Excel spreadsheet that contains NLFID, that's our roadway unique identifier, and it has log point information, and you want to view that on a map. So this can actually be used as a conversion tool as well, because once you load it, it's going to be in your results table, and then you could export it. Okay, of course it doesn't remember, so let's get, okay, LRS events, sample spreadsheet. So I've navigated to my file and now that's activated my upload button. So I want to click that. And yes, so it's read the fields in my input file. I tell it which field contains my NLFID values and then which contains log point information, CTL begin number. And I only have the CTL begin, so I'm going to leave the end log field blank. Click add. And there you go. So back in my results layers, you can see it's generated this, and so it will also have populated my results table. And you can see it's brought in 21 records. And from here, I could export it to a different format. So that can be really useful. You can also do the same thing if you have a spreadsheet of coordinates or a spreadsheet of addresses. Let's demo the addresses. And that's probably where I will leave you guys. Okay, so I navigated to my file, and now again, I need to click my upload button. You see it will try to auto-populate my column names. So it found address for city, city name, and then zip code. Click the geocode button. And it's going to create another results layer, and it should automatically refresh here in my results table at the bottom. So while that's thinking, I believe the final option reverse geocode. So you input lat longs and it will um, output addresses. So that's another really great resource. And yeah, there you go. Okay, so before I leave you guys today, let me do quick overview of our objectives. So hopefully you are familiar with the layout and organization of the site, the project search page, and the create a map page probably being the most used resources. I hope that you're comfortable navigating and searching through our project data, and that you understand the requirements such as committed funding for viewing project information in TIMS. In our create a map, I hope you're comfortable turning layers on and off using the identify tool to view those attributes, that you know to look for links within the attributes for photo attachments or um, links to external sources like PathWeb. For finding layers and getting descriptions of their attributes, you can use the data glossary page, which is also a great resource for linking to the business or the owners of that data to get more information. Um, and I hope you spend some time searching through the map viewers. Maybe you'll find some layers that are particularly useful for your workflow. Okay, and I always like to finish by bringing up this contact link again. Make sure that everybody knows how to reach us, and we welcome your questions, or if you have any technical issues, please reach out. So
Katie,
I
you have
thank you
two questions in the questions box.
for pointing out that there's a question. So let me see if I can view that. Okay, sounds like log point. Oh, I don't know that I can read this whole question here. Sounds like log points. Yes, unique locations along a road. So our log points travel, they increase in the cardinal direction, and that is, say, you start in Cincinnati, the southern and western part, and then traveling east and north, those log points will increase. They will reset at each county border. Um, So when you cross the Franklin County line, the log points for, say, Route 70 will start over at 0. We also have state log points available. So for 70, it would begin at 0 at the state line, and it would continually increase until you crossed into, is that Pennsylvania, I think. So hopefully that's helpful.
And then I don't know if you answered this one, but does TIMS only include all federal and state funded projects?
I believe so, yes. I can pull that back up. So if there are locally funded projects, I don't know that unless it goes through our local program system. If you have more specific questions, then I can link you up with our Ellis team. They are the experts on all of the project information that we store. So you're welcome to shoot me an email. Um, there's the TIMS link, and yeah, I think if I put my direct email in the chat, will that go to everybody?
Yes, and I will also send it in the follow-up email for everyone.
Okay, yeah, great. So if anyone had any questions and I didn't get time to answer them today, just shoot me a direct email and we will and I will get back to you. I posted my email address, but I did it as a reply to the question. So just look for that in the follow-up email.
And there are no other questions at this time.
Thank you so much, Paula.
So that's it. I will be sending out a follow-up email again with Katie's contact information and a copy of today's recording to everyone who attended. So thank you so much, Katie, for your time as usual. You did a great job. And thank you everyone for joining. Katie, do you have anything else for the group?
No, that's it. Have a great day, and thanks for being here.
Okay, thank you.